Alright, what is going on, nerds? Gonna do my deck tech today. This is a standard deck, but it's kind of based loosely on a modern deck. And it's just trying to completely negate the opponent. So it's gonna be like a control package. So I'm gonna do Authority of the Consuls, Shaper's Sanctuary. And these are kind of want to be on the board most, if not all, of the game here, just as a little control. Enchants are kind of rough to get rid of right now because nobody really runs it. Okay, and we're also going to be doing Hour of Promise, one of my favorite cards from that set. Now it's going to have a cat theme or a side theme to it in the form of Pride Sovereign, Regal Caracal, and Adorned Pouncer. Get that in frame there. So that's kind of like the creature base, really. The other creatures in here have a purpose. So we're going to be making a lot of cat tokens. So we will be using Oketra. She's going to be nice to have. We'll also be playing a Crested Sunmare, because our tokens are going to have lifelink. Actually, we're going to play 2 of those. And then the most interesting part of the deck, and the reason I built it is because I was just staring at these cards. They were just staring me in my face, back at me. And I thought, you know, that's kind of a cool idea. So, and this is really just kind of a fun deck to take to F&M. This isn't like competitive or anything like that. Though, it was kind of built when I was, I was watching one of the tournament coverages, and Teamer Energy was just wrecking people. But I was looking at their land base, and their land base was kind of ridiculous. So I was like, what if you can't really disable energy? What if you can disable their colors, because they play 4, it's kind of their weakness. They play 3 to 4 colors. So this is kind of like the cute little combo that this deck does. Is the Ramanep Excavator, Settle the Wreckage, Aven Mind Sensor, one of my other favorite cards from Amonkhet Hour of Devastation block, and Field of Ruin. Tell me if you guys kind of see where I'm going with this. So, taking out their Ether Hubs, taking out their Spire Bluff Canals, their Botanical Sanctuaries and whatnots. They're I would say pretty easy to get this combo going on the board. We are running at least 3 of each of these, and then it's not perfected yet, but that's kind of what it's going to be. Just about 3 each. Probably 4. I think I have 4 Field of Ruins in there, but anyway, this is kind of the premise of the deck. Get this guy out there as Flash. That's great. So here's the main idea of it. I mean, he's actually not part of it, but well, he is part of it. But all right, so you get your Field of Ruins out, and this also helps you you don't really need to fix colors. It's only green and white, but this will help you get the colors you need. Plus, okay, so here's the basic idea. Their turn 3, turn 4, they start, getting pretty wild. So we're going to be using our Field of Ruin on their Aether Hubs or whatever multicolor lands they're doing. Goes to the graveyard. Flashing out Mind Sensor when they go to search. Or even when they attune with Ether. This is also a really good kind of stopper for that. There's 2 of these guys in the deck. 2 to 3 of these guys, depending on how you want to run it. That just lets you keep reusing Field of Ruin, which is pretty nice. Also, for when their board is more well-adjusted and more laid out, that you can have no fear of playing Settle the Wreckage if you have your Aven Mind Sensor out. Not bad. So with the cat base, so we're doing the Pride Sovereign, the Regal Caracals, and the Adorned Pouncers, which you know, these guys can come back as a 4/4 double strike. That's pretty awesome. This guy right here making lifelink 1/1 tokens and giving other cats 1/1s. But yeah, that's kind of our cat package there. And then also, like I said earlier in the beginning with the enchants, with authority of the consuls, if they're playing a creature on their turn, you gaining a life, it comes in tapped. So what better way to take advantage of them gaining life on their turn than having crested a Sunmare? And then also you can, I mean, you could be cranking out 5/5s pretty quick with these guys. And we are playing 2 copies just in case. If we can get both of them out, they make each other indestructible, and then all the other tokens that they make, so that's kind of cool. That's a decent late game right there. We have the Shaper Sanctuary, like I mentioned earlier. Just good, you know, it's 1 mana enchantments that kind of give you really decent, it gives you a decent benefit if they're targeting your stuff. I really like this card. It's just a 1 mana. If they spot removal your dude, I mean, you're drawing a card, which is not bad at all. So I like that card. That's a decent one. So in addition to the 4 Settle the Wreckage, we're also playing a Dusted Dawn and 2 more in the sideboard. That's also a pretty solid card. Gets back your, you can get back your Aven Mind Sensors. It'll get back your Ramanap Excavators. Okay, and we already talked about Catch of the True. Just makes a token. 1/1. You know, we're gonna have plenty of dudes. With all the tokens and everything coming out, so she'll probably be activated really quickly. These gods are actually really good now, especially with, you know, the rest of the second block coming out of, or the second part of the block, and then also all the tokens that you can make within Ixalan. She's actually very viable now. A 3/6 double strike is just, it's not bad at all, and indestructible, just great. We have 2 of her in the deck. Because of so many white creatures, we're actually running a Oketra's Monument also. Just makes it easier to flash out Aven Mind Sensor. Gives you some 1/1s to activate Oketra, makes the horses cheaper. All around good card. Alright, and then for the land base, obviously playing Field of Ruins. We're also going to be playing 4 of each of these. Hashep Oasis and Shefet Dunes. Awesome cards, equally as powerful. We're going to have so many creatures that, you know, sacrificing a desert and having Ramanap Excavator out to get these back. So let me read this one in case the camera's not picking it up. Sacrifice a desert, creatures get 1/1 until end of turn, and then, well, it's kind of at sorcery speed, but it's not bad. So, pumping all your kitties and all your soldiers and dudes. And then, Hashep Oasis. Pay 3 and sacrifice a desert, and target creature gets 3/3 until end of turn. Also at sorcery speed, but very cool. Alright, so what is the point of the deserts? Well, it's to buff our creatures since they're kind of blah, kind of generic. You know, they have some synergies, but alright, we also running 4 Sunpetal Groves. Play set of Sunpetal Groves, and then we are actually running 1 Scatter Groves just because it is a Forest Plains, and getting this guy out early will allow all of your Sunpetal Groves to come in untapped. You know, play that either turn 1 or, you know, cycle it towards the end of the game. Doesn't matter. We can maybe even add more of these. Take out maybe 2 Sunpetal Groves or so. Put in 2 more of these just because Ramanap Excavator, we can just play these. We can cycle them and then play them from our graveyard. Cool interaction there. So that's those 2. Alright, and like I said, the deserts, the Field of Ruins, and then just like, you know, 3 forests, 3 plains of the basics. And then we also have one just to try it out. I was trying this out, and I like it a lot. It seems like it's too slow to get going, but this one can activate so quickly that I didn't mind putting it in. So it's Growing Rights of Itlamok. Okay, and I don't know, everyone's probably seen this card. But when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library and reveal a creature card from them and put it into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your graveyard in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Growing Lights of Itlamok. Very easy to do. Not hard to do at all to get 4 creatures out. So it is basically Gaia's Cradle and in Standard, which is, it's hard to think about. It's just like, what in Standard? Craziness. And you got to go through some hoops, but this one is actually, I feel like, the least work. Search for Escanta, it takes some work, and if it doesn't take work, it's still taking a couple turns to get it down when you need it to get down. But yeah, I think this card is pretty decent in Standard, especially in this deck, because we're getting so many tokens. Alright, and now why are we running those deserts? As a side bonus to running those deserts, Hour of Promise, very cool card. It does cost 5, but it does ramp you twice. And with our control coming out, or with our little control enchants being out, Authority of the Consuls, and kind of gumming up the game and slowing it down, you know, gaining life and tokens and chump blocks and whatnot. So those deserts come up quite a bit. And if you don't have any, or if you only have one, or you need your Field of Ruin, this one letting you search for 2 lands, not basics, not specifically basic or specifically forest or plains or, you know, anything like that. You go search whatever deserts you want. And then also part of the bonus of that is getting, you know, these 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. That's kind of nice. This is mainly just to get your Field of Ruins and your deserts out, so you can start pumping your team and whittling people down. Running 2 of these. Alright, and last but not least, after everything was said and done, I said, okay, we got, you know, all this going on, and what could I make the most use out of with Growing Rights of Itlamok and Hour of Promise and all these kind of ramp, and not to mention getting kind of land advantage. If you're Field of Ruining your opponent's their dual lands and their Aether Hubs and all that, you get to go search for one too. You know, a basic. After you do that, you pay 2, tap it, destroy their Aether Hub. Bye. Get out of here. So then you go and search for your plains or your, you know, whatever, and it comes into, you know, the battlefield. So you pay 2, tap it, get rid of theirs. Even Mind Sensor out, they, you know, probably won't snag one. So why Aven Mind Sensor? Well, if an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of the library instead. It has flash, flying. It just shuts them down. It just, you know, gets you ahead in land advantage, and I mean, it's also being a 2/1 flyer is not, it's not terrible. It'll probably get in for a couple points of damage, but a decent card. I saw it when I opened Amonkhet, and I said, this is an old card. This is a reprint of a Future Sight card. But basically negating people from searching their libraries, kind of taking advantage of that and focusing on the decks right now that do that. And it's basically a Tune with Ether. A couple other cards, a couple other decks in Standard doing that, but basically taking down these 4-color Temur Energy decks. They rely so heavily on their dual lands and their color fixing and Aether Hubs. So that's kind of like a counter. Almost a hard counter to it, just shutting down their mana production. Alright, so with Growing Rights of Itlamok, how do we take advantage of tapping for possibly 4 to 5 mana on one land? This guy came out in Aether Revolt, Johnny Unyielding. Let's get this focused up here. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library, put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. That's pretty good, especially because you know, getting non-lands into our hand when we're searching for lands most of the time with Field of Ruin and Hour of Promise. So that's kind of like another cool way to just not flood. Kind of like get the important stuff and keep them cycling. And that's a +2, so that's not bad at all. The -2 exile target creature. For a -2, that's insane. That's pretty good. Its controller gains life equal to its power. I mean, that's not so bad. I mean, when we're talking about the kind of, we're pumping the Hash-Up Oasis and the Chefette Dunes and stuff like that in combat, and or before combat, and pumping our whole team, I think that's kind of I think that's okay. I mean, we're exiling a target creature. It's not destroying it into their graveyard for God Pharaoh's Gift and other stuff like that. It's removing it from the game. That's pretty solid. His -9, no idea if you'll ever get to it. It's possible to do it, but his -9 is also pretty cool. It only take 3 turns, and he'd be left at 1 loyalty if you could protect him pretty well. Which you can. You make a lot of tokens, a lot of chump blocks. It's feasible, but put 5 1/1 counters on each creature you control, and 5 loyalty counters on each other planeswalker you control. So, not really, looking on the planeswalker aspect of that ability, but because we're only running the one of Johnny, but it's good. He filters the top of your deck because you're going to be fetching so many lands anyway, hopefully getting ahead of your opponent because of Aven Mind Sensor and Field of Ruin, and exiling target creatures. What is that? Swords to Plowshares for a -2. And you could just do that 2 turns in a row to take out these creatures that they're playing that are just kind of giving you headaches. And he felt like the best fit to fit in a green-white, to have a little bit of a control element. He worked out really well, so I was pretty happy with it, Johnny. Plus I have 3 of them from the Eighth Revolts that I opened up, so good card. For the sideboard, let me see. Got my zombie tokens for my Hour Promise. So it's kind of a weird sideboard because the whole deck is kind of just countery. It kind of handles creatures, it kind of handles lands, or at least shuts down lands. This is another cool one I was thinking of doing, especially with Growing Rites of Itlimoc out, or your Guy's Cradle, basically. This is just destroying lands, artifacts, or enchantments. I think it's a cool card. It does cost 4, but like I said, if you got 2 or 3 or 4 tokens out, you can just tap your Growing Rites of Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun, and then bam, taking stuff out. Let's say they have that one island up, and or they have the one swamp up to play their Scarab Gods. Boom, take care of that. And then also getting artifacts and enchantments. Again, it is for 4. It is kind of expensive, but that was also another factor that played the decision of running a Gaia's Cradle, and possibly another one in the sideboard. So, possible sideboard card. Also on the sideboard is just finishing up play sets. So, another Pride Sovereign. Another Ramanap Excavator for a play set of 4. This one came in. I opened about 2 of these, and it's another 1 mana enchantment that creates a 1/1 with lifelink, so that's great. And then attacking with 3 or more creatures. About the same thing as Growing Rites of Itlimoc. We're going to have so many creatures just pumping out tokens and stuff like that, that this guy flips. Okay, when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you transform Legion's Landing. And it makes one right off the bat when you play it. It's possible turn 1, no problem. And then I'm sure you guys have seen it, Adanto the First Fort just creates another 1/1 with lifelink, which is great for the end game if you want to be making those Crested Sunmares for kind of your win condition, just kind of taking them the rest of the way down. And also taps for white when it flips, so that's great. So I think those are the 2 most, other than Search for Escanta, which is pretty insane, because you're filtering the four cards off of your deck, and they're going to the bottom of your deck. You're not putting them in the graveyard. You're just filtering them to the bottom. So they stay in your deck, but you get to pick and choose what you want. Another card I was thinking about doing, just again because of the Cradle of the Sun, Growing Lights of Itlamok tapping for so much. Getting this guy out. It's kind of cheesy, but I mean, again, it's a sideboard option. It's just a thought. It's not, maybe not even a sideboard, but maybe like taking out the cats and making like a separate separate side goal kind of thing. Having good targets for Godpharaoh's Gift, well, it would probably work. But yeah, I just, I had that in there because maybe one game you just want to kind of throw that in and get all your creatures back, like your 4/4 Pride Sovereign would be great. Your 4/4 Aven Mind Sensor flash, well, not flash flying, but a 4/4 flyer that keeps that effect on the board after, they've been kind of taken out. Another good reason to run that. Running 2 more of these Dusted Dawns. Like I said, it kills a lot of their creatures. Kills a lot of, power 3 or greater. There's a lot of stuff that people are playing there with power 3 or greater. And then a lot of your key cards, Raminab Excavator, Pride Sovereign, and the Aven Mind Sensor. Same as a Dorn Pouncer, same as, this gets those back, so that's kind of great. One of the big things is keeping Aven Mind Sensors on the board to kind of keep our engine going of destroying their non-basics, but also gaining one ourselves, and then replaying it with Raminab Excavator and kind of keeping their non-basics off the board to, kind of destroy their color fixing. Maybe it's a little bit, savage or deviant, degenerate kind of thing to do in Magic, but I thought it was just a cool idea because I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential in Standard with these kind of interactions. Aven Mind Sensor, Field of Ruin. Sometimes people don't like to talk about land destruction, but I thought it would be kind of cool. At the very least, to play like an F&M, or you go there during the week and a couple buddies are there and you just kind of want to test it out. Maybe people will start talking about you, get popular. Alright, we have our other Growing Rights of Itlamok, running 2 copies. The only reason you're not running, 3 or 4 is it is a legendary enchantment, so, and it's a legendary land, and you don't exactly want to be, holding like 2 of those late game when you can't get rid of them. 3rd copy of Oketra's Monument. Pretty important to get our little token guys out. Enables our cards that require, 2 or more, or 3 or more, 4 or more creatures attacking. And also cutting our spells down by 1, our white creature spells, so getting Aven Mind Sensor out at a crucial moment when they're, you got 2 mana up and they go to attune with Ether to find their island or something like that. Get Aven Mind Sensor out and kind of negate that, take that down. Right, and then 2 more of the Regal Caracals if it gets down to it. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. Just a solid card. It comes out as a 3/3, and it gives you 2 other cat creatures with lifelink, and they are 2/2s. Really solid. And then putting another one of these out, getting 2 of these Regal Caracals out, that it just starts snowballing, and then you do a Sheffet Dunes and a Hash-Up Oasis, on your main phase, and then you attack, and your army is just ridiculous. That's the goal of it. That's what we're going for with this deck. Alright, so I believe that's it, guys. That's those are all the little mechanics and functions and, cool things that I tried to throw into a deck. I thought they were working pretty well. Play tested it a couple times. I just really liked it. I think it's a lot more interesting right now than some of the decks that are out there. I have a Ramnap Red Ruins, or Ramnap Ruins Red deck. I have a Blue-Black Control, which I'm doing next. Used to be Grixis, but it just, 3 colors is pretty demanding, and I just wanted it more consistent. But we're going to be doing a video on that one next, so look for that. And also, if you guys have any ideas of, taking the land destruction and search negation, taking that and pairing it with some other core or another shell, Let me know if you guys have any other ideas about what cards would work well with this. If you're excited about it, if you think it was a good idea, if you think it was a bad idea, let me know in the comments. I think it is pretty fun. It's like I said, it's not like a competitive deck, but it is fun to kind of screw around with stuff like that. Just breaks the monotony of seeing somebody put down their on-crop crashers and their bristling hydras and all the other stuff. And then, destroying a bunch of dual lands that the other person has. Oh man, $10 land, $11 land. And you just kind of throw it in their face. And oh yeah? Well, that land didn't do much there, did it? Yeah, I destroyed it. Sorry that you ran so many expensive land cards. I mean, even though I have them, it is kind of funny to do that. Yeah, throw me a comment down there what you would do different, what you would, or what you like, that you want to do the same. Hope you guys learned a little bit from me, or found some cool ideas, or maybe it even sparked some ideas on your guys' side. That'd be cool too. So yeah, let me know. And I will see you guys in next Deck Tech.